is that.
Hi,
Hey,
here we are again.
yes, hello again. We got people lining up now. It's good, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Normally I would be doing the live streams, but today we have a technical difficulty on the free films chat. So we're here on Minds. We're here to highlight some films that's going on. We're screening tonight, screening all months actually for Film Night BK. Okay,
Yay.
just 1 second. We're here with the lovely Samantha, going to tell us about her film. And it's currently screening on the Free Studios website, the Free Film/Film Night.
Yay. I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to get started and tell us your name, tell us what you start?
Sure. So I'm Samantha Noland, and I just recently graduated my MFA degree at American University in Washington, D.C. And my film Park Bench Philosophy is screening as part of the festival, which is very exciting. And I made it in my directing actors class about a year ago. And I worked with a great team, a couple of great young actors in the DC area. Ramon and Annabelle star in it. I wrote it and directed it based off of kind of some spiritual and philosophical thoughts I was having at the time. I had just come back from this spring break trip to a place called Yogaville, which is in Virginia, and it's like a meditation and spiritual place. And so I wrote this script kind of based off of like what is the meaning of life? What is God? Or who is God, or who do you believe in God? All of these questions. And having the main character of Clara be kind of like into religion, spirituality, and then the other character Jack is a little bit more like skeptical, and they seem opposite. They seem like they're opposites, but then they're kind of brought together, just meeting in a park bench.
Cool. What I loved about it too is like a very existential conversation. If everyone knows me, I'm very much the existentialist guy and everything. So those kind of stories about what it means to be human, what it means to be alive, what it means to exist, those always kind of gravitate me in a kind of story. And that's what kind of really stood out to me in yours. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the philosophy in the story? Go a little bit more in depth about that?
Yeah, and also it's cool to know that you're an existentialist sort of as well, and kind of it's nice to meet you on here. And
Right.
we were talking earlier how I haven't done this type of live before, so it's cool to do this and to get to know you. So yes, so as far as the philosophy and the discussion in the film itself, I drew based on different philosophical schools of thought. Perhaps I did some research. I did take a philosophy class in undergrad, and um, we learned about the different schools and all of this, but I kind of didn't want it to seem dogmatic or like I was trying to fit in a whole lot of stuff, because already it is kind of a wordy script and it's about 7-ish minutes and there's a lot of dialogue. But there's this one moment where Claire like quotes Aristotle and goes on like this whole long diatribe, and like I kind of wanted to seem like she seems like she's so like erudite or thoughtful or smart or whatever. She's reading this big book, and she thinks based on judging the other character Jack, that he doesn't know anything. But then he comes back at her with like, oh, I'm quoting Nietzsche now.
Mhm.
And so I wanted it to be um I wanted it to be like Jack was catching her off guard, and challenging her viewpoints, because he represents the more, I guess, like pessimistic view
Mhm.
of life, like God is dead, there's no
Mhm.
meaning to life. But I don't want to spoil it, but there's a twist at the end that explains why he might be feeling that way.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of like One scene, a shot that kind of reminded me when he mentioned the Nietzsche reference, and she's kind of like her face is like, oh, like kind of like, oh, great. Like she's like, he knows the can of worms he's about to get into, and it just kind of just falls in from there. But I like that narratively, there's not really an action or beat, it's kind of like a beat of dialogue that kind of just makes like shift. It's like, okay, this is where the conflict is going. Is there any kind of like scene or shot that really stood out to you, or anything that pointed out to you that made you feel like, okay, this is the thesis of the film?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The thesis of the film. I think what I wanted the thesis of the film to be was, can people from very different viewpoints and very different backgrounds who are strangers end up maybe connecting and even potentially falling in love? Like it's kind of left ambiguous, like it's too short to delve into that whole plot line. But I wanted like the ending shot where they're like walking off into the sunset kind of, and don't even get me started with golden hour, trying to capture golden hour, because we like ran out of daylight at the end of the day, and I was like, oh no. But anyway, I wanted it to be like at the end, oh, is maybe there's something more to come with these two, and like it's not a finished story.
That's really cool. And I really love that the golden hour is like really a pain to get, but you guys got like a really good shot, and it looks really gorgeous. That thing was really shot cinematography.
Yeah,
Uh,
I worked with a good cinematographer.
yeah. I was gonna say. So I was gonna ask one other question. I was gonna ask is, and the all busyness of being a filmmaker and everything, is there anything that you're currently working on?
Yes, I'm very glad you asked that, because since Park Bench Philosophy, I made a capstone film last fall called People Pleaser, which was about 14 minutes long. So, and it has about 6 characters. So it's kind of like an even more in-depth process. I decided not to shoot at golden hour though, so I shot inside. But now I'm actually, this weekend, I am making a really short, which is only about a minute long, but I actually am shooting golden hour again. So, but that's like a proof of concept of sorts for actually a feature script I've been writing. Um, and that one explores, it's like a summer romance type of thing. So I you can tell I like romance
Mhm.
those plot lines. And People Pleaser was also like a love triangle of sorts, and like a coming out as bisexual story. So I like to explore a lot of these different like kind of human stories and dynamics in my
Okay.
storytelling and filmmaking.
All right, a little follow-up then. So what do you want people to take away from Park Bench Philosophy? Those who are watching.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for watching. It's always great to feel like your work is being seen. And what I'd like you to take away from it is some hope in this world that's a little crazy right now, and um, stressful, that maybe people who seem very different can actually get along and we can actually learn from one another.
Wow, beautiful and very well said. All right, Samantha, let's want to tell everybody how we can find you, or how we can find some of your work and keep up to date
Yes.
with you.
Yes, great. Please follow me at this account, Samantha L. Noland, on Instagram. Also, you can go to my website, www.samanthanoland.com, and reach out. And you can just, if you want to DM me or collab or anything or learn more about my work, I'd love to do that.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here, guys. Like I said, Park Bench Philosophy is streaming right now on the freestudios.com/showings. So check it out right now, guys, and hopefully you guys can really learn something, get some philosophy out of it. Thank you so much for hanging with us, Samantha, and thank you so much for taking time for us to sit and talk.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
To you too as well, everybody. All right, peace, everybody.
Bye, everyone.